Hey, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Mr. Costel's teaching. All right, so adding and subtracting decimals, we're looking at pages 80 to 83. And we're going to start with example 1, which is right here. 8 and 13 hundredths plus 2 and 76 hundredths. When adding or subtracting, first thing we're going to do is we're going to line up the decimal points. We're going to write this vertically. So we have 8 13 hundredths plus 2 and 76 hundredths. From this point, we just add like we would with whole numbers. So we have 3 plus 6, which is going to be 9. Excuse me. 1 plus 7, which is going to be 8. Our decimal point comes straight down. And then 8 plus 2 is 10. We would carry the 1. And then 10 and 89 hundredths would be our final answer. All right, when we take a look at our second example, which I'll do here in blue, right down here, we have 1 and 459 thousandths plus 23 and 7 tenths. All right, now even though we have a larger whole number, or a larger number with 23, and we don't have any decimal places here, we can do something called annexing zeros. And annexing zeros just means we can add them, but it doesn't change the value. So we would just stick 2 zeros right here, and then it makes it a little bit easier to look at this and solve for it. So we have 9 plus 0, which would be 9. 5 plus 0, which would be 5. Oops, sorry, it's a little sloppy. And then 4 plus 7. 4 plus 7 is 11. We carry that 1 over to the ones. Our decimal point comes straight down again. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. And then this would be a 0, so 0 plus 2, which would be 2. And that would be our final answer. All right, on to subtracting. Okay, so subtracting decimals, once again, still on page 80 to 83 of your textbook. Before I even get started with example 1, looking right here, I can estimate this difference. So 5½ equals about 6, and 3 and 174 thousandths equals about 3. So I know my answer should be around 3, somewhere around that. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but that's in the ballpark. Okay, so here we go. We have 5 and 508. We switch pens here. I think this one will work a little bit better. 508 thousandths minus, just like adding, we're going to line up the decimal points, 3 and 174 thousandths. Decimal point comes straight down. And then, boys and girls, we just subtract like we would with whole numbers. So 8 minus 4 is 4. I can't take 7 away from 0, so I look next door and I borrow. 5 would become 4. I dump that there. Now 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. And then that would be my difference. And it's around 3. It's not, it's definitely a little less, but it's in the ballpark, so I know that I'm on the right track. All right, example 2. Once again, we'll do this one in blue. We have 21 and 9 tenths minus 1 and 605 thousandths. Just as we did with addition, we can insert zeros so that we have the same number of decimal places. So I'm going to add a 0 there, add a 0 there. Now, I can't take 5 away from 0, so I have to go next door. Well, this 0 right here doesn't have anything to offer, so I'm going to go to the 9, and that's going to become 8. this becomes 10, but because this 0 needs to borrow, this is 10, and now this would become 9. All right? So here we have 10 minus 5, which is 5. 9 minus 0, which is 9. 8 minus 6, which is 2. Decimal point comes straight down. 1 minus 1 is 0, and there would be an imaginary 0 there, so 2 minus 0 would be 2. And then that would be our final answer. All right? Boys and girls, common mistakes are people don't add the zeros here. I'll highlight it. Some people forget to add zeros here. Remember, your decimals and adding and subtracting always line up. As you can see with this example, we can go back to example 1. They're always lined up, and then if you need to add zeros, you can do that. That's a common mistake that we see. Have a phenomenal night, and I will see you tomorrow.